Right on. Gosh.
What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. In today's episode, we are on the Sacramento River doing a little bass and striper fishing in my old town PDL 120. I'm starting off today with a buzzbait. I was out earlier in the week, had some pretty good blow-ups on a buzzbait, so figured I'd start my day that way, but after a while realized the fish didn't want to come up and eat. So as we go down these bamboo banks, there's little current breaks that the bamboo that's fallen in the water creates. And these bass like to sit behind that and get out of the current, wait for stuff to come by, which works out. You can crank them, you can throw a jig, pop water, kind of a little bit of everything out here. These bass, they're all northern strain, largies. You also can get into some spots and smallies. After throwing the buzzbait for a while, decided to switch over to a jig. This is a Dirty Jigs half-ounce flipping jig with a Kraken's Call Ecto Craw trailer. Really like using jigs out here. Imitates a little bit of everything between the crawfish, the bluegill. There's Sacramento River perch in here also that the bass all feed on. Depending on the current, you really want to play with your weight of your jigs. It's a little swifter. Obviously, you want to go 3/4, almost all the way up to 1 ounce. They definitely like to eat it on the fall. I think as it's fluttering down in the current, it's kind of either a craw running away or bluegill just coming down the current. A lot of these fish usually have their nose pointed into the current and are just sitting there waiting behind any kind of object in that current break, waiting for something to come by, get that easy meal. They don't want to sit there and expend all their energy trying to chase food down when they can just wait for the buffet line to bring something down to them. As I was filming this video, I was in the Headwaters Kayak Hurricane Helene benefit tournament. It was a fun little derby for a good cause. Raise a little money, help the efforts for everybody that lost everything in North Carolina after that terrible hurricane. So I dropped the ball on this one. Forgot to turn the GoPro on after I made a move downriver. I pulled over into this pocket. Usually in the summertime, this whole pocket is full of grass. You can frog, punch, all that kind of stuff. But later in the year, once it cools down and the grass starts dying, more isolated pockets here and there. You can see there's a mat of duckweed out in front of me, and I was just flinging the jig out just to the face of it, letting it fall and slowly hopping it back. And this one picked it up on the way back.
That helps the cause. Put a little Procure on there. just out. Thanks, bud.
So here I moved into one of the many sloughs that are off the river. They all hold bass. Some hold it a little bit better than others. You see in the distance here, I'm casting towards a brush pile. Earlier in the video, I added a little bit of Procure onto the jig. I was having issues with them just picking it up and dropping it, not holding on to it. And sometimes I think just that little bit more scent on there, have them hold on to it a little bit longer. I mean, it could all be mental, but, you know, as us as fishermen, anything that we think is going to help, we're going to do it, regardless if it does work or not. It may work in our minds, but that's kind of the creature of the habit with us. It's that mind game of trying to figure out what the fish want, what they don't want.
Don't know if you'll help. Maybe. Fucking got you. Jesus. And you're pretty short and fat. No help.
So now I moved downriver, decided to start striper fishing on my way down. Here I'm sitting at the top of a big hole,
There we go.
casting out into about 3 to 4 feet of water at the top of the hole. To the left of me, where the hole drops down, it's probably 20, 25 feet. The stripers like to use the top part of the hole, the flat. They'll go up there, call it the killing water. they'll go up there and feed, do what they need to do, and then they'll be able to come back in and sit down on the drop, get out of the current, suspend, and wait for stuff to come down over the drop off and into the hole. Here I'm throwing a jerk bait. I like to throw jerk baits for stripers. They get bit, plain and simple, but they also get big bites. I have 3 or 4 fish over 40 pounds on jerk baits, but you definitely want to upgrade all your hardware. Bigger split rings, bigger hooks, bigger as in stronger split rings, stronger hooks. You don't want to upgrade your size, really. That's going to affect the action.
Oh, this is going to be real fun with a big one.
This is a 7'8" medium mag cranking rod. It's got 30-pound test braid, 20-pound mono. See, now I've moved down into a snaggier section of the river that has a bunch of fallen trees and other snags in it. This is when I like to switch over to a glide bait. It's easier to work around the snags. You can fish it way more efficiently around cover since you're only fishing that first foot and a half of the water column. Glide bait wise, I really like to have 3 rods and have 3 different sizes of gliders. You know, a 7 to 8 inch, a 9 to 10 inch glide, and then basically an 11 to a 13 inch glider. It's good to have all 3 of those with you so you can really take the temperature of the fish, you know, see what size of bait that they're keyed on, and kind of cover all your bases that way. So when you're throwing these gliders around the cover, you can see my casts. I'm casting up and over the snag and bringing it down current. I basically at a 45, so it's crossing right behind the snag, right as you're bringing it into the little V that the current makes going around the snag. They like to sit behind that stuff, stay out of the current, but I mean, it's a rule of thumb. You always want to be casting it up at a 45 and bringing it down current. That's the most natural presentation. Those fish are sitting there, like I said, with their nose in the current. They're looking, waiting for something to come by, waiting behind those snags. Easy to come up, eat it, and go back down. So my reason for going back to the jerk bait was after throwing the glider past all those awesome laydowns, current scenes with the snags, not getting any fish activity. I usually use the glider to fish to tell me what they want, and not having anything come up, no boils, no flashes or anything like that on all that good water, because usually they hold so tight to the cover, you bring it by, they're going to come up and eat it that first pass when it comes by. So that kind of was a barometer check on the fish don't want to come up higher in the water column to eat. So that's my reasoning for picking the jerkbait back up. And I mean, as you can tell, first cast, pick the jerkbait back up, bang, bang, get another one. So in my opinion, if they don't want to eat it, they're going to tell you that. So there's no sense in trying to force feed the fish. This guy had me fooled from the beginning. He hit it like a freight train and stripped some line off, and he was just bulldogging the whole time. And usually when that's happening, it's a better grade of fish. And after, fighting it for a while, I still thought he may have been a double digit or a mid-teener.
But as you can see, as he comes up next to the boat, he had the hooks stuck in the top of his head. When that happens, they're able to keep their mouth shut and they have all their power. You're not torquing on them when you got a hook in the corner of their mouth and they got to keep their mouth open. When they can keep their mouth shut, they can just pull and pull and pull as much as they want. So majority of the times when stripers eat, they'll come up and actually headbutt the bait and try to stun the bait, and then they come back and eat it. So a lot of times you'll get them hooked outside the mouth, freaking top of the head, and yeah, this guy was false advertisement. I was excited. I thought I had one that was worth the effort there.
So now down below the bridge. Bridges are always good places to fish, even just the pilings, but around the pilings it's going to collect all the wood and debris, which stripers will have another ambush point for them to sit behind and eat. And also the mud swallows that are up above that are on the bridge, when those guys are starting to have their babies and they're starting to learn to fly, they will fall out of the nest, and I've seen it. Those stripers will come by and smack those suckers on top water. But anyways, yeah, so fishing around bridges, any kind of man-made structure like this is always a good place to fish and catch them. But this is just another little short to end my day. And all in all, for the first real drift down the river in the kayak, it was a good time, that's for sure. I appreciate you guys watching the channel, and hopefully I'll have some more exciting content down the road. Make sure to like and subscribe, and you guys have a good day.